Hello, forever friends and family. Welcome to webinar Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book bestseller written by Robert Kiyosaki. And I like on the cover of this book these four lines: what the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class do not. That's like an introduction to this book. And today we continue to read and to listen this book. And we continue to do that right now. Let me switch the screen. Zoe, please confirm what do you see on the screen.
We see the text.
You see never forget, right?
Never forget.
Okay, let's move on.
Forget that fear and desire can lead you into life's biggest trap if you're not aware
Zoe, please confirm how the sound.
It's okay.
All right, thanks. Let's move on.
of them controlling your thinking. To spend your life living in fear, never exploring your dreams, is cruel. To work hard for money, thinking that it will buy you things that will make you happy, is also cruel. To wake up in the middle of the night terrified about paying bills is a horrible way to live. To live a life dictated by the size of a paycheck is not really living a life. Thinking that a job makes you secure is lying to yourself. That's cruel, and that's the trap I want you to avoid. I've seen how money runs people's lives. Don't let that happen to you. Please don't let money run your life. A softball rolled under our table. Rich Dad picked it up and threw it back. So what does ignorance have to do with greed and fear? I asked. Because it is ignorance about money that causes so much greed and fear, said Rich Dad. Let me give you some examples. A doctor, wanting more money to better provide for his family, raises his fees. By raising his fees, it makes healthcare more expensive for everyone. It hurts the poor people the most, so they have worse health than those with money. Because the doctors raise their fees, the attorneys raise their fees. Because the attorneys' fees have gone up, school teachers want a raise, which raises our taxes, and on and on and on. Soon there will be such a horrifying gap between the rich and the poor that chaos will break out and another great civilization will collapse. History proves that great civilizations collapse when the gap between the haves and have-nots is too great. Sadly, America is on that same course because we haven't learned from history. We only memorize historical dates and names, not the lesson. Aren't prices supposed to go up? I asked. In an educated society with a well-run government, prices should actually come down. Of course, that is often only true in theory. Prices go up because of greed and fear caused by ignorance. If schools taught people about money, there would be more money and lower prices. But schools focus only on teaching people to work for money, not how to harness money's power. But don't we have business schools? Mike asked. And haven't you encouraged me to go for my MBA? Yes, said Rich Dad. But all too often business schools train employees to become sophisticated bean counters. Heaven forbid a bean counter takes over a business. All they do is look at the numbers, fire people, and kill the business. I know this because I hire bean counters. All they think about is cutting costs and raising prices, which cause more problems. Bean counting is important. I wish more people knew it, but it, too, is not the whole picture, added Rich Dad angrily. So is there an answer? Asked Mike. Yes, said Rich Dad. Learn to use your emotions to think, not think with your emotions. When you boys mastered your emotions by agreeing to work for free, I knew there was hope. When you again resisted your emotions when I tempted you with more money, you were again learning to think in spite of being emotionally charged. That's the first step. Why is that step so important? I asked. Well, that's up to you to find out. If you want to learn, I'll take you boys into the briar patch. A place almost everyone else avoids. If you go with me, you'll let go of the idea of working for money and instead learn to have money work for you. And what will we get if we go with you? What if we agree to learn from you? What will we get? I asked. The same thing Brer Rabbit got, said Rich Dad. Referring to the classic children's story. Is there a briar patch? I asked. Yes, said Rich Dad. The briar patch is our fear and greed. Confronting fear, weaknesses, and neediness by choosing our own thoughts is the way out. Choosing our thoughts? Mike asked, puzzled. Yes? Choosing what we think rather than reacting to our emotions. Instead of just getting up and going to work because not having the money to pay your bills is scaring you. Ask yourself, is working harder at this the best solution to this problem? Most people are too afraid to rationally think things through and instead run out the door to a job they hate. The tar baby is in control. That's what I mean by choosing your thoughts. And how do we do that? Mike asked. That's what I will teach you. I'll teach you to have a choice of thoughts rather than a knee-jerk reaction, like gulping down your morning coffee and running out the door. Remember what I said before, a job is only a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Most people have only one problem in mind, and it's short-term. It's the bills at the end of the month, the tar baby. Money controls their lives, or should I say the fear and ignorance about money controls it. So they do as their parents did. They get up every day and go work for money, not taking the time to ask the question, is there another way? Their emotions now control their thinking, not their heads. Can you tell the difference between emotions thinking and the head thinking? Mike asked. Oh, yes? I hear it all the time, said Rich Dad. I hear things like, well, everyone has to work. Or the rich are crooks. Or I'll get another job. I deserve this raise. You can't push me around. Or I like this job because it's secure. No one asks, is there something I'm missing here? Which would break through the emotional thought and give you time to think clearly. As we headed back to the store, Rich Dad explained that the rich really did make money. They did not work for it. He went on to explain that when Mike and I were casting 5-cent pieces out of lead, thinking we were making money, we were very close to thinking the way the rich think. The problem was that creating money is legal for the government and banks to do, but illegal for us to do. There are legal ways to create money from nothing, he told us. Rich Dad went on to explain that the rich know that money is an illusion. Truly like the carrot for the donkey. It's only out of fear and greed that the illusion of money is held together by billions of people who believe that money is real. It's not. Money is really made up.
If you are sleeping in a position like this, you are wrecking your body and your breathing. Obstructive sleep apnea happens when you're...
It is only because of the illusion of confidence and the ignorance of the masses that this house of cards stands. He talked about the gold standard that America was on, and that each dollar bill was actually a silver certificate. What concerned him was the rumor that we would someday go off the gold standard and our dollars would no longer be backed by something tangible. If that happens, boys, all hell will break loose. The poor, the middle class, and the ignorant will have their lives ruined simply because they will continue to believe that money is real and that the company they work for, or the government, will look after them. We really did not understand what he was saying that day, but over the years, it made more and more sense. seeing what others miss as he climbed into his pickup truck outside his convenience store, which Dad said, "Keep working, boys." But the sooner you forget about needing a paycheck, the easier your adult life will be. Keep using your brain, work for free. And soon your mind will show you ways of making money far beyond what I could ever pay you. You will see things that other people never see. Most people never see these opportunities because they are looking for money and security, so that's all they get. The moment you see one opportunity, you'll see them for the rest of your life. The moment you do that, I'll teach you something else. Learn this, and you'll avoid one of life's biggest traps. Mike and I picked up our things from the store and waved goodbye to Mrs. Martin. We went back to the park, to the same picnic bench, and spent several more hours thinking and talking. We spent the next week at school thinking and talking, too. For 2 more weeks, we kept thinking, talking, and working for free. At the end of the second Saturday, I was again saying goodbye to Mrs. Martin and looking at the comic book stand with a longing gaze. The hard thing about not even getting 30 cents every Saturday was that I didn't have any money to buy comic books. Suddenly, as Mrs. Martin said goodbye to Mike and me, I saw her do something I never seen her do before. Mrs. Martin was cutting the front page of the comic book in half. She kept the top half of the comic book cover and threw the rest of the book into a large cardboard box. When I asked her what she did with the comic books, she said, "I throw them away. I give the top half of the cover back to the comic book distributor for credit when he brings in the new comics. He's coming in an hour." Mike and I waited for an hour. Soon the distributor arrived, and I asked him if we could have the comic books. To my delight, he said, "You can have them if you work for this store and do not resell them." Remember our old business partnership? Well, Mike and I revived it. Using a spare room in Mike's basement, we began piling hundreds of comic books in that room. Soon our comic book library was open to the public. We hired Mike's younger sister, who loved to study, to be head librarian. She charged each child 10 cents admission to the library, which was open from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. every day after school. The customers, the children of the neighborhood, could read as many comics as they wanted in 2 hours. It was a bargain for them since a comic cost 10 cents each, and they could read 5 or 6 in 2 hours. Mike's sister would check the kids as they left to make sure they weren't borrowing any comic book.
I interrupted for a second because I was listening this part, of course, before run right here on the webinar, and this sentence impressed me very, very much, that Mike's sister would check the kids they left to make sure they would not borrow any comic books. I just want you to pay attention to very simple word, borrowing, not to steal, which it should be proper English in Russian language, right? But would not borrowing any comic books. All right, let's move on. We're almost done with this part.
Books. She also kept the books, logging in how many kids showed up each day, who they were, and any comments they might have. Mike and I averaged $9.50 per week over a 3-month period. We paid his sister $1 a week and allowed her to read the comics for free, which she rarely did since she was always studying. Mike and I kept our agreement by working in the store every Saturday and collecting all the comic books from the different stores. We kept our agreement to the distributor by not selling any comic books. We burned them once they got too tattered. We tried opening a branch office, but we could never quite find someone as trustworthy and dedicated as Mike's sister. At an early age, we found out how hard it was to find good staff. 3 months after the library first opened, a fight broke out in the room. Some bullies from another neighborhood pushed their way in, and Mike's dad suggested we shut down the business. So our comic book business shut down, and we stopped working on Saturdays at the convenience store. But Rich Dad was excited because he had new things he wanted to teach us. He was happy because we had learned our first lesson so well. We learned to make money work for us. By not getting paid for our work at the store, we were forced to use our imaginations to identify an opportunity to make money. By starting our own business, the comic book library, we were in control of our own finances, not dependent on an employer. The best part was that our business generated money for us, even when we weren't physically there. Our money worked for us. Instead of paying us money, Rich Dad had given us so much more.
So congratulations to all of us. We complete this part of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Very, very interesting book. I love it very much. Let's go to next step. I will show you and we will listen Eric Worre and Jim Rohn's. He is going to share our story, his story with Jim Rohn. Zoya, please confirm what do you see on the screen, and we are going to move forward.
Да, Eric.
Eric, okay, let's do it.
I want to share a lesson that I learned from Mr. Jim Rohn early on in my career. It served me even though I was resistant to it at first. He said this: everyone is going to suffer one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline, doing something you don't feel like doing, putting structure in your life, accountability to your actions, learning how to get things done, learning how to do some of the things that you're uncomfortable doing, expanding outside of your comfort zone, being consistent, right? This word discipline. And that, to me, that was a negative word. Being disciplined was like being punished. Being structured was like taking away from my freedom. And I really struggled with this early in my career because what helped me finally get comfortable with the word discipline was when he described the pain of regret. See, the pain of discipline you pay up front, right? You delay your gratification and you have discipline to do what is your purpose.
Я хочу поделиться уроком, который я усвоил от Джима Рона в начале своей карьеры. Он помог мне, хотя сначала я очень сопротивлялся. Он сказал: каждый человек в своей жизни испытывает одну из двух болей: боль дисциплины или боль сожаления. Боль дисциплины это делать то, что тебе не хочется делать, создавать структуру в своей жизни, брать ответственность за свои действия, учиться доводить дела до конца, учиться делать то, что тебе неудобно, выходить за пределы своей зоны комфорта, быть последовательным. Это слово «дисциплина» для меня тогда было негативным. Дисциплина ассоциировалась с наказанием, и структура казалась ограничением свободы. Мне было трудно принять это в начале карьеры. Но мне помогло осознание того, как он описал боль сожаления. Боль дисциплины ты испытываешь сразу, заранее. Ты откладываешь удовлетворение, удовольствие ради цели и делаешь то, что важно. А боль сожаления – это когда ты не сделал то, что нужно, а потом чувствуешь себя плохо.
Regret is not doing the thing and then feeling bad about it. The next 5 years can be one of two different paths. You step into discipline for the next 5 years and you're proud of your accomplishments, or the 5 years goes by anyway and you have a list of regrets. I should have done this. I could have done that. I let these people down. I let myself down. What's the matter with me? I'm such an idiot. Right? I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And I realized that the pain of discipline is less than the pain of regret. The pain of discipline, doing the uncomfortable thing when you don't feel like doing it, is so much less. Because not only do you make progress, but you feel better about yourself. So the pain of regret, you don't make progress and you feel bad about yourself. Okay. Progress, feel good. No progress, feel bad. Which one would you like? So I was like, okay, fine, I get it. I'll start to become a bit more disciplined. Right? Now, I had to trick myself, and I still have to trick myself on discipline. You know, I show up every day to create these videos, these training lessons for you every day, every single day. Do you think I don't have a team that is reminding me all the time, hey, we need another lesson. Hey. Do you think the accountability that I've put myself in with you hasn't made a difference? I can't let a day go by.
Итак, боль сожаления– это когда ты не сделал то, что нужно, а потом чувствуешь себя плохо. Следующие 5 лет могут пойти по одному из двух путей. Либо ты выбираешь дисциплину и через 5 лет гордишься своими достижениями, либо 5 лет все равно проходят, а у тебя список сожалений. Я должен был сделать вот так, я мог бы достичь большего, я подвел этих людей, я себя подвел. Что со мной не так? Да я просто идиот. Я много думала об этом и понял, что боль дисциплины намного меньше, чем боль сожаления. Делать неудобные вещи, когда не хочется, гораздо легче, потому что это дает прогресс и улучшает самочувствие. А боль сожаления– это отсутствие прогресса и плохие ощущения о себе. То есть прогресс, когда чувствуешь себя хорошо, нет прогресса– это когда чувствуешь себя плохо. И что ты выбираешь? И я сказал себе, ладно, хорошо, я понял. Начну становиться более дисциплинированным. И мне пришлось хитрить с собой, и до сих пор приходится это делать. Каждый день я записываю видео и уроки для вас. Каждый день. И думаете, у меня нет команды, которая напоминает, эй, нам нужен еще один урок. Думаете, это степень ответственности, которую я создал для себя, перед вами не имеет значения? Я не могу позволить себе пропустить день, потому что я пообещал вам появляться каждый день. И это дисциплина, даже если вы этого не хотите делать.
And say, well, I'm just going to miss this day because I've made a commitment to you to show up every day, even if you don't. If you don't show up every day, I wish you would. But I have to have accountability structures. You are part of my accountability structure to take the information I have in my head and from my experience and share it with you. And guess what? If it was a weekly message instead of a daily message, I'd still have to have a team to remind me. If it was monthly, I'd still have to have a team to remind me because I get pulled in a lot of different directions. Right? So accountability is one thing. And the other thing is that I use a lot, and you hear me talk about this over and over, create accountability for yourself in order to be able to do the discipline. And the second thing is create a project. I love working with projects. So I'll give you an example. I'm not super structured when it comes to my typical day. Now, some people would say, and I don't understand these people that says, let me show you my morning routine. Every morning I get up at 4 a.m. and then I'm part of this, then I work out and then I meditate and then I do this and then I do that. And then, at 9 o'clock I have breakfast and then I walk through that structure. That is a alien concept to me.
Итак, думаете, что система — это ответственность, которую создал для себя, не имеет значения? Очень даже имеет большое значение. Я пообещал встречаться с вами каждый день, и для меня это создает большой процент дисциплины. Я не обещал вам раз в неделю. Если бы обещал, то, значит, я бы так и делал. Поэтому я пообещал вам появляться каждый день, и это создает дисциплину. Создание структур ответственности помогает мне оставаться в прогрессе на пути. И еще один инструмент — это проекты. Я люблю работать с проектами, что-то сочинять. Например, у меня нет четкого расписания на каждый день. Я не понимаю людей, которые говорят: каждое утро встаю в 4 утра, потом тренируюсь, потом медитирую, потом завтрак в 9 утра. Это чуждо мне. Мои дни всегда разные, но в моей структуре есть проекты, есть дедлайны, есть календарь, который подсказывает, где я должен быть и что делать. И это создает структуру, и это держит дисциплину.
A typical day? My typical day is completely different all the time. I don't have that type of structure. Guess what I have in my structure? I have my projects that are due. I have deadlines for those projects. And I have my calendar that tells me, where am I going to be? What am I going to be doing there? I just was talking with my team and I'm doing an online presentation for a large company, and it's next week and it's translated into 50 languages or something like that. So it's actually 2 weeks from now, they need my presentation slides by Tuesday. I know what I'm going to talk about, but I haven't created the slides for it. And they need the slides for it because they got to be able to do all the legal, has got to approve it, and they've got to be able to do all the translations. Okay. That's different than me just talking to you like I'm talking right now. So the fact that I have a deadline, guess what? I will get it to them by Tuesday because I have a deadline, right? There's a request, there's a calendar, there's a deadline, there's a project. These are all the things that helped me stay consistent, help me be more productive, help me move my business and help you move your business forward because I've created structures around my life that cause me to be productive. So I don't have to live with regret as much as I normally would. I still have regrets. This book has sold about 5 million copies. There is no reason why I shouldn't have 6 more books out.
Итак, что же делает нас дисциплинированными? В моей жизни меня делают дисциплинированными это те проекты и то, что способствует этому проекту. Это планы, календари, дедлайны, то есть сроки, которые я не должен нарушать. И все это подсказывает мне, что делать и как держать дисциплину. Недавно моя команда сказала мне, что через 2 недели мне нужно провести онлайн-презентацию для крупной компании, и материалы нужно сдать ко вторнику, чтобы успеть перевести их на 50 языков, утвердить их. Это огромная работа. И я точно знаю, что это будет сделано, потому что сдам эти слайды к сроку, потому что есть дедлайн. Есть дедлайны, вот проекты, календари. Это все помогает мне быть продуктивным и двигать свой бизнес вперед. И это создает дисциплину. Я все еще иногда сожалею, что эта книга продалась тиражом в 5 миллионов экземпляров. Но за это время я мог бы написать еще 6 книг. Жалею ли об этом? 100%. И мне нужно выстроить для этого новую систему ответственности, дедлайны и все, что поможет мне действовать.
Between the publishing of this book and today. So do I have regrets on that? 100%. 100%. And I just got to figure out an accountability structure and to figure out deadlines and figure out something to cause me to take the action. So I will tell you, even at a high level, I deal with it and you're going to deal with it. But I promise you this, the pain of discipline, and it might be painful sometimes, is much lighter than the pain of regret. Discipline, you make progress and you feel good. The regret piece, you don't make progress and you feel bad. The non-discipline, you don't move forward in your business and you feel bad. I'd rather you feel good than feel bad. I'd rather you have progress than no progress. Okay? So play around with what will unlock your discipline, what will unlock your productivity, what do you need to do with you so you stay in the game and you do what's needed so you don't regret that you didn't do those things down the road. That's our lesson for today. I'll see you tomorrow.
Итак, создавая вот эту систему ответственности, которая заставляет тебя делать дедлайны, планы, и все это поможет тебе действовать. Даже на высоком уровне я сталкиваюсь с тем же, как и вы, но обещаю, что боль дисциплины, пусть она иногда и болезненна, гораздо легче, чем боль сожаления. Дисциплина равна прогрессу и хорошим ощущениям. А отсутствие дисциплины, отсутствие прогресса в вашем бизнесе и плохие ощущения. Я хочу, чтобы вы чувствовали себя очень хорошо, а не плохо. Я хочу, чтобы у вас был прогресс, а не его отсутствие. Поэтому выбирайте дисциплину. Подумайте, что поможет вам соблюдать свою дисциплину, продуктивность и удерживать себя в игре, чтобы потом не сожалеть о том, чего вы не сделали. И это урок на сегодняшний день. До завтра.
Zoya, thank you very kindly for your outstanding translation. I would like to add a couple of words on my own, and everybody entitled to share your opinion, because to me, this sentence on the top of the screen, discipline or regrets, is super, super powerful. That's how I felt about this. I read and I heard from Jim Rohn many, many years ago. Almost first or second year when I joined FLP. It's super powerful. So if anybody would like to share your thoughts, please go ahead.
I completely agree with it because you know how tense the American life is, and sometimes what helps is really discipline. I realized it so many years ago, and discipline is equal to me like a plan. For example, I know that I have a not a deadline. I have a plan. I need to get up, for example, at 6 o'clock to have a little plan to do this, and then to start my work at, for example, 9 o'clock, and then to do this work, to do this work, to do. So I have a plan, and you know what? When you have this plan ahead of the day, and you know what will be, it goes so easy, everything. It's so easy, and the time flies so fast. Then you realize, it's me? I could do it? Yes, I can do it. And every morning when I get up, I tell myself, I can do it. And I do it, and it's so easy. It's the same like Mary Poppins comes into the room, she clicks like this, and everything is done. And because of the discipline. And I agree so much.
Thanks a lot, Zoya. Thank you. I'll see you everybody next Monday, but stay with us right here.